macro and rush of strength. Now, Chamber Down pushed both of them at the same time, so I don't know how I'm going to work that, but he hit the magic macro and then he hit this rush of strength, which is jolt and rush of strength. And then he hit his physical macro again, and then macro for the massive blow. Then he just went in between the magic and physical macro back and forth until you don't need to cast until it's dead. So before I go too far into that, let's go into the macros. Okay, so your magic macro is show Frozen Wrath, suppress macro failures, cast Frozen Wrath, cast Glacial Strike, cast Jolt, cast Icy Blow, cast Eckerd's Grasp, cast Lightning Hammer. Now for your physical is show Massive Blow, suppress macro failures, cast Massive Blow, cast Punishing Strike, cast Combined Effort, cast Crushing Blow, cast Fervent Strike, and cast Lightning Hammer. Now there's also a AoE rotation with Sanctioned Heretic and Lightning Hammer. Go back and forth with your magic and your physical, and which you need to cast your Sanctioned Heretic and Lightning Hammer when it's falling off. So you want to keep your dots up basically, and then back to your physical and your macro, your magic macro again. Now for the AoE rotation, it's the same as what I just said, to where you can hit your opener if it's all just trash mobs, but there's no really reason to. But you can go ahead and hit your Rage of the North and Deep Freeze macro. You hit that twice, and you hit your number 1 AoE macro and go back and forth between your number 1 and number 2 AoE macro, which takes me back into the macros again. Which your number 1 AoE macro is cast Frozen Wrath and cast Avalanche Strike. Your other number 2 is cast Strike of the Maelstrom. That is your second AoE. Now, when you're doing this, you're going to have to also toggle back and forth as well. This is where it gets complicated. Is toggling certain buffs. You have a single target weapon buff and an AoE weapon buff. So you'll have to cast Vengeance of the Winter Storm or cast your Vengeance of Primal North. So your Winter Storm is your single target, and your Vengeance of Primal North is your AoE. Which one thing I liked about Chamber Down is he does stuff like I do. He made the an AoE macro for just that that buff. That way he can put on there AoE.
Oh, okay, so he's macroing the buffs.
He's just macroing the buff, so he can actually have a type it, put letters on it saying AoE or ST is single target. That way it's easier, and you can remember which one's which. Because sometimes, when you're switching back between roles, you can't remember all the time which one's which.
Yep.
But there's also a shield macro that he has. But he says the shield macro is I haven't hit it on myself to see how much of a shield it puts on me. But it's cast Glacial Shield and cast Shield of Oak. You just hit one, and the other one's, when one wears off, you hit it again, and then Shield of the Oak will pop up. Okay, so the other macro that I said to hit twice, which was Rage of the North, which is cast Rage of the North and cast Deep Freeze, and those are combat buffs, so you want to put those up. So, and that is the show.
So you're going to be playing this when we go into dungeon next week?
I don't know.
Watch all the drops that happen will be mage next week.
No, it'll always be rogue. Are you kidding me?
No, this past week it was cleric, right?
I've
Tool
been
Reser got all the stuff.
Well, that was our Tuesday run when we did, yeah. Mm-hmm. But when me and Kendo and everybody were running the other day with decks, yeah, it was all rogue gear.
There you go.
For all the runs we did, I'm like, yeah.
No, it's a message from the gods, Kendo. We need gear.
Gods didn't tell me that. I can look and tell that.
Very cool. Chamber Down. Check it out on YouTube.
Chamber Down.
Awesome. All right. Now from there, we are going to go into something I'm so excited to bring you guys. So I bring to you Food Fight.
Well, the hot topic's been either. So there are many that are really concerned about their elo, and they say that it does reflect their skill or it does not. And I just wanted to point out something that Chronos said.
Okay.
And he goes on to say that elo should be a measure of how good a soldier is when it is actually a measure of how good a general is. If you are a good soldier, you will win battles. If you are a good general, you will win wars. A good soldier would do great in arena, but if they are a poor general, they will fight the wrong battles in objective-based combat, which is what we have, and lose the war. A good general might not win every battle, but if he can read the flow of a match and exploit enemy weaknesses, he can still win the war. Many of those players with 200-ish elos who are recognized as good players are great soldiers for the poor general. They consistently win battles, but often those battles are the wrong battles at the time. They ultimately lose the war. That being said,